Hey there, Exploring Music. How's it going? Hey, I wanted to just take a moment to say thank you to everybody for all the hard work you've put in on your music projects here. You're composing. They're turning out really good. They're fun to listen to. I'm not surprised, but this is the first year that I've used GarageBand exclusively, and I think just the way that we're going about it really works pretty well. And I think the stuff you're coming up with is creative. It shows your ability to put things together in a unique way and create your own style and your own voice, which is really great. So keep up the good work. It's going to be a lot of fun here. We're going to kind of polish up this song here and kind of finish it up with a few little tricks and gadgets this week, and then we'll focus on doing it again and sort of exploring what it's like to create more than one song. We'll do some different options. So before we go any further, I wanted to just do a little review. When you start a new song, there's tons and tons of options for you, and I wanted to just remind you that in order to get to the Apple loops, which is the way that we've been using GarageBand, is to click on More Sounds right here. And when you click on More Sounds, you can pick any drum set that you want, any sound that you want, because we're not actually going to use that sound. We're going to jump to the loops, and the way that we do that is right here at the top of your screen. There's a little microphone looking thing that also looks like tracks, and so when you click on it, you get tracks, and that allows you to go over here to loops and get the Apple loops of the genre that you want. You can select your genre, and then we're simply just dragging things to the screen. As you recall, we're trying to do drums in track 1, bass in track 2, harmony in track 3, and melody in track 4. So you have 4 tracks. That's pretty standard. Your metronome can be turned on or off here. You have a few settings to choose from, but that's basically it. It's a simple multi-tracking setup using these Apple loops. So to go back to the project that I was working on, I believe this is the one. And at this point, we've got a short intro right here, only 4 measures long, so half as long as normal. An 8-measure verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And that's kind of the body of the song. And then we have a bridge to take a little bit of a break, to take our mind off things. 2 more choruses, and an ending. Okay? So in case you don't remember, those are 8 measures apiece. I decided to make half of a intro just to kind of save time and to show you that it's a possibility. We've added extra stuff in our bridge. Our bridge is where it's quite unique. Keep in mind the golden mean is a very natural phenomenon where something new or something fresh or something climactic happens about 1.618 to 1 is the ratio. So this half of the song should be 1.618 and this half of the song should be 1. Now, one thing you'll need to be aware of and have good skills in is this little plus button here on the right. This is how we select just one segment. This is how we go to all sections and display the whole thing. This is where we can edit and copy and paste things. So that's kind of an important place to have some skills. Like right now, I want to go to all sections. Okay, so today's work, as you can see, there's this little pink section down here. When I get to the end of my song, it gets a little bit old. I've already heard the first chorus here, the second chorus here, the third chorus here. We're on the 4th chorus. I decided to add a second chorus at the end. So the 4th chorus is kind of needs to be remade a little bit. So I've done some remixing using these effects, and that's this effects window right here on the top left. And then also today we're going to talk about balancing by using some mix down options. Okay, so I'll start with that. So on the top left here, next to the FX button, you have those little volume pots. They're called potentiometers. They're little sliding volume knobs like this. And so what we can do is click on each track, and you do need to do each track separately. You're going to change the volume based on how they sound. Now for this part, I would definitely recommend headphones. If you have access to a pair of headphones, this next part is going to be really important to use headphones on. So basically, we're just going to go through each track and make sure that one thing's not too loud, overpowering the others. So for example, I can mute one, I can solo one. So if I hit these headphones, it's only going to show me just that track that I have soloed. I can also turn it off and hear the whole song. So let's say I choose this track, and I think that you can even see the sound waves, the tiny little sound waves in the picture there. That might need to be a little bit louder. So you can adjust each track's volume, okay? That's right there. The next one is called pan, and that puts the sound in our right ear or our left ear. I wish they described it a little better. They could simply put a picture of an ear there. But panning is just a technique where you can actually make it sound more like the band or the singers are right there in the room with you, because normally they don't all stand in one spot. They're kind of spread out throughout the room. So what you can do is say, all right, I'm going to put drums a little bit to the left. I'm going to put bass a little bit to the right, and it sounds like they're on stage on the left side and the right side. Electric guitar, I'm going to put way off to the left. Keyboards, I'm going to put way off to the right, and then, maybe this effect I'll keep in the middle. And then you get, and you're not going to hear this on your iPad, but if you have headphones on, you'll start to hear that left side of your ear, your left ear and your right ear, the left side. And that's called stereo music, when it's in two channels, left channel and right channel, for your different ears to hear. Speaker systems, if you have a stereo setup with two main speakers, that's going to use the stereo. And that's how they get, if a helicopter goes by in a movie, they will start all the way left and move all the way right, and it'll just sound like the explosion or the person speaking moves across the screen, when in reality there's just one microphone they're using, so they have to do that separately. Finally, we have these plugins and EQs. You can do compression, and I do want you to understand what compression means. So if I turn it all the way down, I have this sound for my drums. I'm going to solo the drums. It's got some soft parts to it and some loud parts to it. Now, I can make all of those sounds, the soft ones and the loud ones, the same volume by just cranking that up. So the subtleties and the musicality and the beauty of that drum beat disappear when you compress them all. It's all one volume. And the reason we might do that is so that somebody driving in their car with road noise doesn't have to turn it up and turn it down to hear things that they want, and you don't get that subtlety, but you do get to hear everything. So there's a benefit to having the nuances of the performance, and there's a benefit to having the ability to hear all of it. So you have to judge for each track. You would go through and solo by hitting those headphones and decide how much compression you want. So that starts loud and gets softer, right? And if you turn up the compression, it just makes sure everything is the same volume. So I'm going to go part way there. Go through each track and do that. Now, treble and bass is simply the high pitches and the low pitches. Typically, we want to hear, both of them. So you could crank them both up, I suppose, but most people don't do that. You kind of give it a little bit of a shape, and it just depends on the sound. So this one is a very bass-heavy sound, for example. And I have to just try it in my headphones. I don't want to overpower it. Most of these dials, you don't want to max out. You never want to just crank them all the way. So you want to use your best judgment. Okay, then we finally have these master effects, echo and reverb. Echo is when something repeats. Let's try something like... Again, people don't usually max those out. Another one is reverb, and that just simply means the room size, basically. Like you're going to have a really large room that... It's not echo. People call it echo, but it's that's a mistake. It's actually reverb. It's kind of the ambient size of the room. Let's listen to some different versions of that. Let's see here. Let me get a solo the drums. It kind of sounds like, you know, maybe it sounds like it's in the studio. And then it sounds like maybe in somebody's garage. Maybe in a bathroom. Maybe in a gymnasium. Maybe in a stadium. You can, like, you know, you could put that on all of your stuff and make it sound like it's a live, you know, a live concert in a stadium. All right, so that's the balancing and mixing that we used in this button here. Then there's this effects button that's just crazy. And you can do remixes like I've done here at the bottom. And that's kind of a remix situation. So all I did, you can drag this up a little bit to see these touch pads. I guess they're XY filters. So there's an X-axis and a Y-axis, just like graphing and math. And so what you can actually do is you can try it out by playing, but when you hit record, the record button at the top, when you finally hit the record button, it's going to keep it for you as a track, as you saw that pink track down here. So you can actually practice for a while, which I'll do, and then you can finally record it. So let's just hear what's going on. So I can reverse. So it just takes a piece of it and reverses it. You can stop it. You can stop it slower. You can do stuff like that, okay? And then on the right, oh, then you have scratching. If you want to, like, you know, do a remix, it would be easy enough to play around with this stuff over the top of an entire song if you want to, like, make a remix. That's kind of what people do. Like a DJ would do. They're playing a song that people already know. You can also block out every other beat kind of thing. As you slide up, it gets faster. That's kind of a cool effect too. Now these pads on the right are pretty neat. Let's hear them. Bunch of choices. Wobble. Probably the most common one is on the left here. I've set it to filter. That's probably the most common one. You can filter out the low sounds and the high sounds. So you can play around with these effects. They're really kind of goofy effects that, yeah, you can do them in a real studio, but they wouldn't be on a touchpad like this. You would have a bunch of control knobs. But ultimately, you can then place it anywhere you want in your music. I decided that I wanted it on my last chorus. That's a good place for it. I guess you could put it in the bridge too, although you're kind of remixing something that nobody's heard yet. So at least with the chorus, you're remixing something that we've already heard 3 times, 4 times. So that's how the FX works. That's how the balancing and mixing works. Later we'll work on mastering and mixing it all down to a single file. But for now, what I want you to do is, again, make sure all sections are on the screen. You can get rid of the mixing. Have this whole thing on the screen, please. And then would you screen record the whole thing as a video? So you have to get into a quiet room, a quiet space, and record that whole thing. All right, good luck today.